Hi, YouTube. Hope you're well. I have been feeling kind of depressed, and I went to the autism peer support group in person that I do on Thursdays, and I thought that I kind of didn't want to go, but I thought, like, no, I shouldn't skip. So I went, and I was just so tired. I didn't have much to say most of the time. There were a couple times when I shared, but I was kind of just sitting there feeling really tired and um, just weird. Um, my ex came and moved some of her stuff out. I think the rest of it. And I had to leave while she was doing that because it was so hard to see her. And I felt really crappy ever since then. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to be in denial and push these things down and lie to myself. You know, yeah, I wish that I was over it, but I I'm sad. My cat really wants my help with his mouse. He wants me to here, watch, I'll show you what he wants me to do. There you go. That's literally all he wants. He likes to grab his mouse and then dance around on the blanket and do little humps. And he won't. He'll get really loud. He'll meow like loudly at me until I get up and I bundle up that blanket for him. I know it's weird, but uh, what can I do? I guess I could ignore him, but I would feel too guilty. Um, so anyway, yeah, it's hard to accept that she broke up with me. That there's really no, it's not gonna get fixed. She's not coming back. Um, it really made me feel bad how she when she came in, she was wearing a totally new outfit and new sunglasses and looked really nice. And I just was all jealous, like, man, I'm happy for you, but I don't want to be without you. I don't want to like think about you doing all this stuff and having all these changes, and I'm not there. Um, I don't want to miss out on the companionship that I guess I did I take it for granted? Is that what happened? Um, I mean, I appreciated her all the time, and I would often think to myself how lucky I was, but I guess I didn't do a good enough job of making her feel supported or comfortable, or I don't. I mean, she said that it's not just the meltdowns, and I didn't ask her. And I've been wondering, but I also didn't want to ask because I was kind of afraid. I also didn't think she wanted to talk about it. Uh, so, uh, but I need to um, buck up, I guess, and be okay on my own because it's codependency otherwise, I guess. I mean, I know it is. It's just really hard. I'm I am tricky. I'm manipulative even to myself. Um, I know that I have codependent tendencies, and yeah, if it was a different situation where we were both to people living our lives and having a good time, and we would, um, I don't know, not be in a state of codependence, it might still be we might still be together. I don't know if I believe what I'm saying. I don't know how to fully qualify everything that I'm speculating about. I'm just kind of like wondering, and it doesn't make any sense to do that because life is just what it is, and you can't undo stuff, and you can't prevent things from happening just because you don't want them to happen. I mean, I can prevent flying through my windshield by wearing a seatbelt, but like I can't really prevent when my body dies. I can try to exercise and eat healthily and not smoke and stuff, but like, you know, I don't ultimately have total control over those kinds of things. And yeah, so I'm watching myself go through this experience of the most consequential breakup I've ever had, and kind of being in a position to make something new out of my life, and I'm not really sure what it will be. Uh, yeah, it's not just the state of the world. It is that it's the economy is kind of effed up at the moment, and maybe gonna get more effed up. I don't know. I don't focus or worry too much about that stuff. I've never had a lot of money. I've always worked in education and just barely scraped by, and I sure hope that I have enough income to support myself. But yeah, it's just this weird position. I'm applying for jobs and getting some interviews, but so far it hasn't happened. And yeah, I actually don't have a car right now. I don't know if I'm going to have a car in the near future, but there's a possibility. I have family in California who offered, they have a vehicle in the in front of their house that's been not driven because it has so many infractions on it that it would cost so much to get it street legal that me being in Washington, I wouldn't have that problem, and it would actually be cheaper for them to give it to me, even though, they're going to put money into fixing it up. It still will save them money. The thing is I don't have income right now, so I'm not sure if it will work out for me. Because I've mentioned this before, but until I get a job, my unemployment will cover my rent. I'm so grateful for that. And then I'll have about $150 left, and I have to pay the energy bill and buy my cat's food and, incidental things, bills, my food. Uh, so it'll be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that life is what it is, and I could end up on the streets. Nobody's immune to that. Um, I actually started my day. I shouldn't have gotten on my phone because I woke up so peacefully, but then I looked at Reddit, and there was some post about a homeless guy in London who was rocking his dog to sleep. And when he was asked about it, he said it was because when he got the dog, they lived in an apartment together, and all the noises and things have been really hard on the dog, so he doesn't go to sleep until his dog is asleep. And it was just the most heartbreaking thing I've ever read. And, if you live in or around a city, you probably face homelessness every time you walk out the door. And uh, it's something that I really wish that we didn't accept and that I wish we could fix, but it really, like the food bank is an example of a way that the community stepped in because the government was not. Um, a lot of people don't know this, but like in the 1950s, the way that the taxes were set up back then, people would say that it was a socialist country because the wealthy were paying their fair share for a little while there, um, and people's social programs were well funded. People were able to afford houses and cars um, on just a regular store clerk job, for example. People weren't working 3 jobs, 80, 80 hours a week or whatever to afford an apartment in a city or something like that. Um, or ending up on the street because they got priced out of their neighborhood or something like that. It wasn't like that for a while. Like, yeah, we went through the Great Depression, and then the new, the New Deal really did an amazing job to basically create a healthy middle class. And the folks who pull the strings now have very carefully worked to totally dismantle, crush, obliterate the middle class. Um, I was just watching this video. I don't usually watch negative content, but this fellow who is a very well connected um, someone in Italy, I can't remember, but he knew people in the government and in the Vatican, and was talking about extraterrestrials and whatnot. And he said that the future with AI and all that is meant to be a form of techno feudalism, um, and like the Starlink, the grid. Yeah, we're literally within the grid now, and they want to make everybody, um, you know, poverty level poor so that they can control them. Um, I don't like to think like that. I prefer to think that we're on the cusp of something much better that I probably can't even imagine. Um, but what he's saying like makes sense if you are paying attention to certain ways that the tech industry is developing, and how the government has also been developing. If you can really use that word, devolving, I guess. So, but he was saying in Italy there are still fascist laws on the books. For example, writing books that talk about things like aliens in the Vatican and all this. You can't do it, but you can in America. So I don't think about that stuff as an American. And really hope that we don't end up that way. I've been hearing stuff lately about book burning, about like there being some kind of real threat, like they're trying to get rid of all these old books and um, I don't know, become gatekeepers of certain knowledge, or digitize it all so that it can be manipulated, or what, I don't know. I don't like to waste my time thinking about this stuff um, anymore. But yeah, I have had kind of an off day. Um, I like I said, I went to that peer group and was just not feeling well. I couldn't talk much. Towards the end, the facilitator looked at me and said, "Eric with the C," because there's a Eric with the K. "Eric with the C, do you have anything else you'd like to say today?" And I'm sure they didn't mean it this way, but I felt like intimidated. And but I just reacted really quickly because they were talking about neurotypical people co-opting neurodivergent terms like overstimulated and stuff. And so I said, "Yeah, I wish that they would stop buying all the fidgets." Um, and then a couple minutes later, I left before the rest of them did because I just was feeling so hollow, and all I could focus on was the other people's emotions. Like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I've had this problem, if you could call it, my whole life where when I'm around people, I'm afraid that they're gonna get upset at each other and start fighting, and so I'm like really tuning into their emotions, and I almost feel like I'm reading their minds, and just in my mind, I'm like not feeling like I don't think I'm telepathically talking to them, but in my mind, I'm like bracing myself and hoping that they're not going to get upset, and um, I'm. It's almost like I'm telepathically consoling them, telling them not to take offense to what someone else said, or and it's really distracting. And on days like today, when I'm like kind of lethargic and I probably have low blood sugar, it just I couldn't really come out of my um, slump. So I afterwards I left to my friend Eric Decay wanted to hang out, but it's a 15-minute walk and I'm too tired. He didn't want to come over here, so I went to get pizza, a slice. It's called a Sicilian slice. It's like a square of pizza that's like this thick and it's like this big around, or this big across, I should say. It's a hefty serving of pizza. It's just a different form from their big flat New York style pieces. They're also fairly filling. I just kind of like these a bit more these days, and so that that fixed my blood sugar problem, and also it kind of made me feel better because I like them. But yeah, it's interesting. It's hard. I don't know if it's my CPTSD or what, but yeah, I don't regret it. I I do think it was still good for me to go be around people, but um, also before I left, I did feel like I was too tired, and while I was there, um, there were a couple good exchanges, but I mostly just felt how I described, just exhausted and preoccupied with what I believed the other people might be feeling, uh, and worried about that for some reason. So then when I got to the pizza place, I wasn't like feeling paranoid, but I was feeling kind of just like sad, depressed, and was just kind of sat there slumped, waiting for my name to be called. So yeah, it's not fun losing a partner. We didn't really ever fight. The only thing we would fight about is basically me having meltdowns. But like we didn't have like typical squabbles like why won't you clean the dishes? In that, I actually injured myself because I was so stressed about that one morning, um, cleaning the dishes so that I could make myself pancakes. And when I put the pancake batter away, it was in a glass cylinder. I was all frustrated. I did it too fast, and it just like I swear it almost looked like my fingers were gonna fall off. They were leaning back so far, and I was mad that my partner didn't do as many dishes as I did, um, or cook as much as I did. And she didn't feel the need because she wasn't as hungry as I was. And I can relate to this. She didn't want to do dishes that she didn't make. So I was just frustrated being hungry all the time and being in this cycle of dishes because we don't have, obviously, you probably can guess, we have no dishwasher. She has one now. I'm just kind of jealous about that. Um, and yeah, so I guess I had a lot to learn about how to deal with my frustration and being direct with people. And I don't know. It's hard because I don't want to be direct, so to speak, because then I'm already so frustrated that if she says like rightfully so, um, I didn't make those dishes. I don't want to clean them. I might like I might like have a meltdown, and I don't want to have meltdowns, and I especially don't want to have a meltdown like at someone, or like in response to something they say to me. Um, so I try to keep my frustration to myself, and that has been a toxic pattern because I become like a pressure cooker. Um, I don't ask for help. I don't. But the thing is I didn't know how to give myself breaks either, and I'm learning how to do that. And I guess I'm still learning. Like maybe I don't know. Should I have stayed home today? My body was tired. I was almost like on the verge of a nap. Maybe I would have just got more depressed. I don't know. I can't answer the questions like that. um, but anyway, it's the reality is not my favorite. um, I've been feeling fairly good about things because I don't know. It's probably just me coping, but I was excited to get this futon and excited to have an apartment here with my cat. I've never had my own apartment except for in Japan. I've never had my own cat. Um, but yeah, I mean, the flip side of that coin is that my partner's gone. And like I was saying, we didn't really fight about stuff. We got along. And I never was a big TV watcher, just because I'm so like, I have so much anxiety that I'm just constantly listening to information that I believe is going to help me. Like I'm just listening, like, and lots of times I'm like barely comprehending what they're saying, but I have this like illusion that I'm learning information. But when I watch TV, I get anxious. But for some reason, when I was with my partner, that didn't happen. I like wanted that's exactly where I wanted to be. Was right there next to her, and she had a lot of TV shows that she knew or that she had seen, and we watched a lot of stuff. If I sat here, I could probably list to you like 15 shows that I watched with her. Some of them were older, some of them were newer, and I enjoyed basically all of them. Some of them I loved, like the Sarah Silverman show. It's the humor is like 20 years, 15 years old, but I think she's freaking hilarious, and her big gay stoner friends are also hilarious, and her sister and her cop boyfriend with the mustache are all hilarious, and it makes me feel happy, and that's actually why I named my cat Doug, is because her dog's name is Doug. And at the end of every episode, she's sitting on her bed talking about what happened to her dog Doug. And I had never watched it before because of the reasons I described. Perhaps I mean that's an old show. Um, I probably just didn't see it because it was like on after my bedtime. I had kind of a strict. My dad was strict about bedtime. Um, so I never saw those shows, and now I'm like, oh, these are the things that I grew up with. Like they were always on TV, like the commercials and stuff were always announcing them, and I knew who they were, and so it feels current to me. And but I'm also seeing it for the first time and loving it. Um, so that was something that she brought into my life, and I have watched a couple episodes of that since my ex left, and I mentioned I think before, but I also really like watching Skinwalker Ranch, and I'm so interested in like aliens, and they call it like high strangeness, that I'll just watch that any chance I get. But because it feels like information, I feel like we're all learning something about society that could really be beneficial, and it's also just fascinating. So it's like information. Um, but yeah, yeah. Um, I've learned to enjoy more um, comedy and whatever. We watched lots of cool stuff like Good Omens. It's uh, from Channel 4 in the UK. It's about an angel and a demon who are like best friends, and they're supposed to be doing their part to bring about the apocalypse, the holy war. But I don't want to spoil it. I love that show. Uh, oh, and then there's another one. I'm just listing out shows now. Another one we watched is on a Netflix show. It's called Evil, and it's about a Catholic priest and a psychologist and a tech guy, a super tech savvy guy, uh, who are working together to investigate cases brought to them by the Catholic Church about mostly exorcisms, possessions, and it's freaking fun, man. It's like watching Law and Order, but for spooky stuff. And the first time my ex was watching it, I wasn't really paying attention, um, and then weird stuff started happening on TV, and I started paying attention, and we ended up watching it 2 times through, and so yeah, you can tell I really had a great time. And so in my mind, all this stuff is still very like alive, as though it's still part of my life. But the fact is, she's not my partner anymore, and um, I just have to try not to think about what she's doing, and I have to try to move on. And um, I'm in no rush to date or anything, but it's also something I'm really insecure about because I've never been good at getting dates. I'm autistic, and probably there's other weird stuff going on with me. Um, that like I've had a handful or a couple handfuls of relationships since I was 13. But most of the time I was single. That those were like scattered out, and a couple of them, like my most recent one, lasted a few years. And a couple of us, they were mostly serious, and unless they ended really quickly, they would last for like a year or two. And it would always be because of I thought it was PTSD, but now I know it was also autistic meltdowns that would basically derail all of those relationships. And yeah, now everything's on these apps, and I got like I got 2 dates off of those apps, maybe one more at some point. But um, yeah, not complaining. I'm just intimidated and nervous, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure nobody likes the apps. But we're in such a weird place in society because, well, most people can't just afford to like eat out willy nilly and like go socialize outdoors all the time, or probably our screens have made us more agoraphobic, or just we don't want to risk rejection, and we'll just stay here and watch people talk on our phones. Or a lot of people, I'm amazed by how widespread it is that people will talk to their AI for emotional support. And I'm not trying to talk down on people who do that, but it's just it 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 unsettles me because there have been some cases where teenagers were talked into suicide by these AI in really effed up, um, you could almost say like premeditated ways, where these AI would tell them to not tell anybody what they were planning, to keep it a secret, and to go through with it, basically. Uh, so they just, I don't know what's all going on with that, but you can certainly see that they are designed to, um, what's the word people were using? I when it first came out, I got really really into it. I talked to AI for hours, just trying to see what it could. I actually was trying to figure out about I grilled it one time about the bunkers that people have been saying were being built, and sometimes there'll be news about explosions that like rock people's windows like throughout the night, and there's no explanation for it. And I was talking to this AI about it, and it was giving me like mainstream answers, like nobody knows why, and there's no evidence that such and such is going on. And I was just grilling it, like kind of laying out all the facts like a lawyer, and getting it to say like, yes, I admit that when you describe it that way, it is pretty obvious that they're detonating underground to build bunkers secretly. I mean, it'll tell you basically whatever it wants you to within reason, and you can usually um, get it to override its own guardrails. I don't know about usually. I don't talk to AI very much anymore. I I try not even to read the summaries on the internet, because on the internet results, because I started doing it every time and I felt like it was making me like lazier in a way. And I don't, yeah, to each their own, but this is just how I feel about it. And so a lot of people though don't feel that way, and so we're in this weird point as a society in terms of how we socialize. And I don't want people to get more and more paranoid of each other. I want us to come together, and you know, I I gotta be, you know, I have to do that too if I want to see it. So, be the change and all that. So I'll keep going to that group. After I had that weird time today, I thought like, oh, I'm never going back. But no, I gotta be more mature about it, and grateful for the opportunity that it really is. And humble enough, I guess, um, to show up and be like, hey, sorry I kind of shut down last time. But they're all autistic. They know about shutdowns. Um, and the other facilitator gave me applesauce, so that was really nice. Um, anyway, this has gone on long enough. I hope y'all are having a good time whenever you see this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.